Welcome to On Ice, the show about the show 20 years later. Today, we're talking about Lost Season 5, Episodes 9 and 10. I'm Will. Also here is Ben, and you can watch full video episodes of the podcast on YouTube. Ben and I also release a bonus hangout show every week that can be found at patreon.com/drskeleton. How you doing this week, Ben?
I'm okay. I'm hot off watching all the episodes. I watched them all today.
Yeah.
Again.
What'd you think of this batch?
I didn't do that last time. I like watching it. I like watching it on the day of, and I liked the episodes this week.
Yeah.
You know, they're. I don't know. I might be like kind of taking it for granted. Maybe they're better than I will even give them credit for today, because there have been a lot of good episodes lately.
There really have been. I think it's good to do this show for several reasons, but one of them is like, well, I guess I don't know. Like we're spacing things out a little bit, but like definitely faster than it was coming out at the time. So it's not, point being, it hasn't been that long since we were in, I don't want to say the doldrums, because I never disliked the show. There was always stuff I liked about this show, but I
recall you once saying, I'm so done with Lost.
I hate this show. Yeah, you're like, compilation of me. It's just being pissed off. There were, I guess, yeah, I was probably like, yeah, sick of some dumb bullshit. But it was more. I wasn't going to turn it off until I had the show. I would have turned it off. Yeah, there were points where I would have stopped watching it if it weren't for this podcast. And I guess I should remember that in this moment, because we've been blessed.
Our podcast saved Lost.
That's not what I'm trying to say. But you know what? Even if we helped in just one small way, we're happy to have done this service again 20 years later. Although maybe, it's less about, I was going to say it's less about when we're going to do it, but when we do it. But I don't know. It could be a time thing is what I'm saying. Maybe because we did this podcast in 2025, it got renewed for season 5 and 6 back in the day.
You're just saying that because you also want to say, when are we?
Ben, I've been wondering. When are we?
When are we?
I think they've mostly stopped that at this point.
They did it in these episodes.
Did they? Okay.
I think. Somebody said it in one of these episodes, yeah.
Really pisses me off. Okay, but these two episodes that we're going to talk about today, Namaste and He's Are You, episode 9 and 10 of season 5. I'm really digging Sawyer's arc as a whole. I especially love how Sawyer is thriving now, when he's kind of really found himself. But especially love how he like corrects Jack, gets him back in line a little bit. I think that viewers might have a bit of a bias towards the survivors as a group. What do I mean by that? But like the Oceanic Six, maybe, because like we've been with that story, and sort of like, this bent towards like, okay, think of Sawyer much more as like, oh, he's one of the survivors rather than a guy who's been on the island for 3 years at this point. But there have been they were survivors for like 100 days. And that's been like the events of the Lost show so far. And then there are these 3 years where Sawyer and Juliet built this life together, and things have been pretty smooth. And I'm with them.
Yeah, 100 days, not that long. I gotta say something that's making me mad about Sawyer. Now that he's living in a house, probably shampooing his hair's really flat.
It is kind of flat. Yeah.
Don't like that.
I think it's an interesting like character. Like they changed his hair up a little bit. I think that's just supposed to reflect 70s look, or is that because like Jin gets a new do as well, and there's some fucked up wigs. Like Horace has a nasty nasty hair situation himself.
Do you think Jin's hair grew that way, or did he get a perm?
To me, a perm is like tight curls, but
He's kind of they're tighter curls.
Yeah.
They're tighter.
what is a perm? Like what happens with a perm?
I think it stands for permanent.
It's a permanent style. Is that the idea? I mean, it's obviously not permanent.
I think so. I think you go and they use some hair contraption that curls
It's a
your
contraption.
hair.
Okay.
I think so.
Like the curlers?
And maybe it's curling and chemicals and heat. That'd be my guess.
Because you see, to me, okay, I know about a curling iron. That's a thing, right? You know about curling iron?
Yeah. Yep. Of course.
And then curlers are like the spools that you wind your hair up into.
Yeah, kind of classic old lady in a comic book.
Right,
thing.
exactly. Like, yeah, that's kind of my association with it. Is that what they're doing for perm? Who? I guess who gets perm? I think perms are back now for Zoomers.
Guys.
Yeah, like
Zoomer
the
dudes.
broccoli hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've heard people getting perms, but I guess I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I think it's a combination
Okay.
of things.
Are they using but they must be using smaller and more curlers.
Tinier curlers. I'm imagining they're using like a souped up curler that they put on your hair, and it applies chemicals and there's heat.
I'm picturing a Wallace of Wallace and Gromit
heat.
like contraption that gets it done.
Sure.
I watched that movie, the new movie recently. Are you a Wallace and Gromit fan?
No. But I think I told you last time, one of the last times I went on vacation, I went to like an indigenous peoples museum.
Every culture has their own Wallace and Gromit.
they had like some ancient thing that was looking like the penguin from Wallace, the evil penguin from Wallace and Gromit. It looked exactly the same.
And Feathers McGraw.
I thought that was very cool. Yeah.
Cool. I forget where we were on this, but yeah, Sawyer's hair has changed. Jin's hair has changed. Julia's hair seems to be the same. I'm not noticing any other hair changes.
Classic. She's got a classic haircut.
But the guys get their stuff done. I guess Hurley stays. Sawyer and Jin were just like, here's a chance for me to reinvent myself. It's like they're going to high school. They're like, I can be a whole new guy.
Hurley already had the curls. Hurley is kind of, he could fit in the 70s, I think,
Yeah. He's got a look that will always, a timeless look to him. I will say, I guess we'll get there.
A timeless look if your look is either
look.
2005 or 1970s.
I'm about it though. All right, season 5, episode 9. This is called Namaste. It aired on March 18th, 2009. It was directed by Jack Bender. It was written by Paul Zbyszewski. I don't know why I had such a hard time pronouncing that name a few weeks ago, Ben, and also written by Brian K. Vaughan. So, in 2007, during the flight of Ajira Airways Flight 316, a trans-Pacific flight piloted by Frank Lapidus, a big light enfolds the plane, causing Jack Shepard, Kate Austin, Hugo Hurley Reyes, and Sayid Jarrah to be transported to 1977, while the rest of the passengers remain in the current year. That's not like immediately clear. It's not immediately clear that that's what happens, but that's kind of where we get to by the end of these batch of episodes. This was kind of fun. I thought that we talked about this maybe a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember, but about how the Oceanic Six, they're celebrities, or they were celebrities, and everybody at the airport should be clocking them. Frank's co-pilot does actually recognize Hurley, but only Hurley. You'd think he'd recognize everybody.
You'd think he'd recognize the other folks.
All right. But he was like, that guy back there? He was one of the Oceanic Six. Brave of him to get on another flight. At this point, Frank is like, I know that we're headed towards the island again. But yeah, and then that happens. Lapidus, unable to control the plane, lands it on a runway on the small island off the coast of the main island, where the Dharma Initiative Hydra Station is located. As they're landing, Frank's like, reverse thrusters. And it sounds like a Star Wars thing. Do planes have reverse thrusters?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think they use them when they land. I'm just kind of throwing it out there, but seems realistic.
All right, cool.
If you could fly a plane forward, why couldn't you fly it back? Why couldn't you fly it backwards? You know.
Sure.
Sometimes you're going to want to turn around up in the sky, or you actually not turn around. Sometimes you're just going to
want to go backwards.
Want to put it into reverse.
After the crash, Caesar, one of our new characters, there are two like new island characters interact. Caesar goes over to Ilana to make sure that she's okay. He doesn't seem to know her, but there's a crash, and he's just kind of like a stranger, making sure another stranger's okay. But I thought this was weird. I we don't know what their relationship is. And he's like grabbing her face. He's like, are you okay? And then she wakes up and she's like, what happened? He's like, we crashed. I'm just some guy named Caesar, whatever. Like, so total strangers, but yeah, he grabs her like jaw. Strange.
Caesar. What a name.
What a name. This guy's destined for greatness. This guy.
What's his philosophical? Is Caesar?
I don't think there's actually. That's a new name for the show. This was invented for the Lost television show. There had, at this point in history, not been anybody named Caesar. Was Caesar the I came, I saw, I conquered? It was
guy?
one of them, yeah. That was Julius.
Oh yeah, there are a couple of them. Yeah, I forgot about that. Interesting.
From what I remember,
was there a guy with Julius Caesar?
Yeah,
Caesar's his last name.
Well, I think it's like more of a title sort of thing, but
Caesar Augustus.
Augustus Caesar, yeah.
It's Augustus Caesar. Okay, I was using his backwards name. Okay, it's Augustus Caesar. I thought it was Caesar Augustus.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus. So his name was also Gaius Julius Caesar, but he added that's more of his middle name. Okay, so maybe it really was that like Julius Caesar was his maternal. It was his maternal great uncle. It was kind of the main Caesar people know about, who was assassinated in 44 BC.
That's the YouTube Brutus guy.
What?
That's the Brutus.
Yes.
Dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is interesting. So we're talking about Caesar Augustus here. He was born Gaius Octavius, so his AKA Octavius, which I think that's where October comes from, right? Or you think maybe August comes from that too? I don't know. Anyway, those guys, whatever. But Octavian was born into an equestrian branch of the blah, 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 blah. His maternal great uncle Julius Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC, and Octavian was named in Caesar's will as his adopted son and heir. As a result, he inherited Caesar's name, estate, and the loyalty of his legions. Here we go. Check this out. He, Mark Antony, and Marcus Lepidus formed the second triumvirate to defeat the assassins of Caesar.
Damn.
Probably everybody's been aware of this connection, but it took us
not us.
Now. You're not. Actually, not us though. So the assassins of Caesar. Interesting. I wonder if Caesar's days are numbered and Lepidus will team up with Octavian and Mark Antony to avenge him.
There any Jacks back then?
There was this guy named
maybe a Sawyer.
Sawyer.
How about
Ben
a Hurley?
Linus? Yeah.
How about a Hurley in ancient times? Mm-hmm. Ancient, the Empire.
The
Roman Empire, the Greek Empire,
then
the Turkish Empire, Ottoman Empire. They're all kind of.
They all had their own Hurleys. Yep.
They all have their own release.
Okay, so very interesting. The passengers begin to debate what to do next, with Caesar suggesting to search the buildings of the island. He's kind of assuming the leader role to some extent at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Former leader of the others, Ben Linus, begins to travel to the main island. He is followed by a survivor, one Sun. You may know her. Who believes that her husband Jin is on the main island, and later, Frank also follows. After reaching a group of canoes, Sun knocks Ben out with an oar and travels with Frank to the abandoned barracks of the Dharma Initiative. I really like Frank. Frank's a great character. Like him a lot. He's a good guy.
Coming around on Lapidus. Okay. Yeah. He's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that he's gotten rid of his Mel Gibson beard, and I'm way more likely to be like, okay, this guy might be a friend.
I would like him more if he would just be be a little bit more mystical himself. Just be kind of a deadbeat pilot. Be like, nah, I got stuff to do, folks. But he's like, I gotta go take care of my passengers or whatever.
He feels
boring. Ditch him.
Well, I like it. I like that about him too. It seems like he is just like around to trying to take care of them. He follows Sun because he was worried about her because he saw Ben go after her, or the other way around. Whatever. He noticed that they were both gone, and he was just like, I know that guy's dangerous. I want to make sure that you're all right. And yeah, he's just kind of bouncing back and forth, always kind of out of the loop on basically everything. But waiting in the barracks of the Dharma Initiative, I think actually Ben's old house, right? They go into Ben's old house, and we see Mr. Christian Shepherd once again.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't have much to say.
I just like to give a little pause because we like Christian. He's the man. Cristiano
Shepardo.
Yeah. And he, so that's what you had. Okay, good. Christian Shepherd shows Sun and Frank a picture of new recruits to the Dharma Initiative from 1977, including Jack, Kate, and Hurley. He also tells her that Jin is with them in 1977. Whoa.
Interesting.
Whoa. Sun seems to believe him, even though Jin's not in the picture. It could be a little bit of a diversion, but I guess that's probably an unnecessary wrinkle. It's enough of like a, whoa, those are my other friends. I guess it stands to reason that like the other people that are on the island are there. Although why isn't she like, why didn't I show up in 1977 as well? Anyway, she seems to go with it. We get a 30 years earlier card, which is new. It's not, we don't get like a flashback sound because it's not a flashback. It's like, it's contemporaneous with the point of view of the show.
Yeah.
It's 1977. Sawyer reunites with Jack, Kate, and Hurley and explains the situation regarding Dharma and the shifts in time. And man, I know we talked about it last week, but I'm really hoping Sawyer, I was worried that like Sawyer was going to sell out Juliet for Kate. Like Kate comes back and like, he throws his life away for the girl that got away, I suppose, or something like that. Because he didn't tell Juliet that they showed back up, and he's acting weird. Like he keeps looking at Kate like, oh. It's kind of my interpretation of that expression. Sawyer arranges for the three of them to join the Dharma Initiative as new recruits. Jack is assigned janitorial work, which he's peeved about.
I would do that to him too. I'm a Dr. Disrespecter over here.
Hurley is a chef, and Kate works in the motor pool with help from Juliet, who forgoes the necessary documentation. Juliet also learns that Amy has named her baby Ethan.
Wow.
So,
your son's going to grow up to be a big old loser.
So is Amy's last name Rom? And she didn't take Horace's, she's not Mrs. Goodspeed?
Amy Goodspeed.
Amy Rom.
Amy Rom.
Or
I don't know.
Ethan
Yeah, that's a good
takes
point.
the name Rom later. Or it's, as maybe you would desire, just a different Ethan. There's just multiple Ethans.
Yeah, it could just be. There's too many, my name's Ben. And everybody's like, oh, what?
That means you're that one
What?
guy. Yeah.
That means you're... No, I could just be another guy.
Mm-hmm. There should be more of that.
Jack encounters a baby named Jack, and he's like, you're me. That's
Totally
me.
spinning out. Yeah. Meanwhile, Jin travels to the Dharma Initiative Flame Station because he believes that its occupant, Steve Redzinski, who has been working on the design of the Swan, will know if Flight 316 crashed on the island. And this is where I wanted to get back to the 70s look. I love Redzinski's look. His hair, his glasses. This is how dudes should look. You should look like Steve Redzinski. If you are a man, why are you not Redzinski maxing, dude?
I think that guy just kind of looks like that. Do you know who's the actor's name?
Eric Lang.
What else is he in? Maybe I've just seen him in Lost and he just made such an impact before, but
he is in
around.
Escape at Dannemora, which I just watched recently, and he's really good in it. As Patricia Arquette's husband. Man, they ugged him up for that show. He's not a bad looking dude. What?
Okay, I guess I'm wrong about that then.
I mean, he has like a receding hairline.
Okay.
Which
he's bald in this show, isn't he? He's got like the...
he's got hair.
Like the bald... What do you call it when you got the bald middle? All the way back and you got the
I guess that's more severe than the receding hairline, but I guess he still has hair on the sides. I think that's a good look. It's like but that's not a Costanza type thing. Because
hair on the sides bald. And bald on the top. I don't know if I would say that George Costanza has a good looking haircut.
Really? I think it's a good look.
No.
All right.
No. The bald on the top?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a haircut.
And the halo on the side.
Yeah.
Halo of old guy hair on the side.
Yes. I mean, like, I wouldn't like get it. I wouldn't shave my... I wouldn't get my haircut to look like that, but like if your hair ends up looking like that, that's not a bad thing, I think. In fact...
But you called that a receding hairline?
No, it's more extreme than that. But it's not... I wouldn't say it's bald. I was just trying to say, like, there's something in between balding. He's balding.
Sure.
He's going bald.
I think as soon as your top's bald, you're bald, even if you got hair on the side, to be honest.
So what would you call somebody... You don't see a difference between somebody who has hair on the sides and somebody who is completely... There's no hair?
Well, I see the difference, but
how would you distinguish?
Still, not with words. Not with the word bald. I would call them both bald.
That seems wrong to me. That feels incorrect.
Well, I don't know.
You just disagree.
What would you call the difference between me and my haircut and Shelly's haircut?
Shelly has longer hair than you.
Than just haired.
Behaired?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure. Belong-haired. Okay. But I feel like saying that guy's... Saying George Costanza is bald does not like give you the right picture. I realize I'm been banging the drum. So are you watching? You're not watching White Lotus.
No.
Okay.
I watched the first season.
All right. Well, there's a different story every season. And Walton Goggins is in the third season. Well, Goggins was on 3 prestige shows simultaneously. He's kind of everywhere now. It's like we're getting a big dose of Goggins right now. But which is great. I love Walton Goggins. And moreover, I was seeing like there's some people on Twitter saying Walton Goggins isn't hot. And they're like comparing him to Patrick Schwarzenegger. And I'm like, they'd be like, Patrick Schwarzenegger's hot. Walton Goggins is not hot. Like, that's crazy. And it's like,
Well,
people just.
that's like an age difference thing, isn't it? One guy's like 30s and the other guy's like, no offense, but old 50s or something, probably, right?
I mean, look at Walton Goggins, though. He is smoking. And Patrick
Well, you could say that, but I'm just saying other people.
I think
That makes sense.
Walton Goggins is obviously hot. And people are just like, I don't know. I am a balding ally. Well, I think it's like, oh, it's like he's got thinning hair. It's like, bro, so what? That makes you cool. I don't know. Like I'm gonna even say like I'm gonna go so far as to say that that's a good look. I want to be out there as an ally to that community.
Okay.
If the people who are saying Walton Goggins isn't hot are nuts. For the record,
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Do you agree or disagree? Is he a good looking guy?
I don't really have a thought. I don't have a thought.
What do you think of Baby Billy?
I haven't seen the show. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen the show.
Okay.
I don't have any thought. I could do what I did last time when I said I didn't have a thought. Cristiano Chapardo.
Waltano Gaganzo. Anyway.
Every time I see Jack, I think I think Jack's black, but said in the style of Zed's dead at the end of Pulp Fiction, but also it's what if Jack was Jack Black as well.
I'm glad you switched over to that. Jack's Black. All right. No, crucially, you're not picturing what if Jack Shepherd was a black man.
No, that's not what I was getting at. No, just what if he was Jack Black?
Yeah, but you're saying Jack's black. Yeah.
I just imagine every time he pops up on the old TV, every time Jack Shepherd pops up on the old TV, I just think that to myself.
It's less of a problem for you to think that it would be funny if Jack Shepherd was played by Jack Black. It wouldn't be funny if Matthew Fox was black. Like that's not really like a joke. No, but so like you being like Jack's black, is like only funny if you like get inside your mind pretty deep.
No, that's not what I. What if he was Jack Black? I hadn't thought about that. It seems pretty obvious. Seems like I probably should have thought about that before I said it out loud. Or even on a podcast. Myself.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about that for weeks.
Sure.
Every time Jack Shepherd shows up, I think, what if he was Jack Black? And then what if I said it in the Zed's Dead style?
Sure.
And then when I see his dad, I think, Cristiano Chapardo.
Nice. We're the guys who are actively reading Wikipedia during the show. This is expert thought leaders about the television program here.
Well, this is to show people that I don't read from Wikipedia because
you're not even doing that.
They don't even put this kind of stuff on there.
Mm-hmm. You have to come to the podcast for this. Anyway, back to the show. I guess there is no evidence of a plane crashing on the island, as unbeknownst to them, the plane has landed in 2007. Soon, an alarm is set off and finds Sayid wandering in the jungle. After a brief reunion, Jin is forced to act as if Sayid were a hostile to placate Radzinski, who would not understand where Sayid really came from. Sawyer is summoned to the Flame and moves Sayid to a jail cell at the barracks while he decides what to do. Sayid really taking one for the team, really picking up on it pretty quick too. I think that no offense,
he's an operator.
Ben, he's an operator. If you were put in this position,
I couldn't do.
What the heck, Jin? What are you talking about? What do you mean don't say another word?
You think that'd be
Hey,
me?
Sawyer. No, LaFleur's not your name. I would do that too. I would probably slip up as well. But I just know that
Well, I agree with that. I disagree with the part about me.
I just know it's hard to get you to go along with bits. So I think that pretending that I didn't recognize you would be tough.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Later in the evening, Jack visits Sawyer and Juliet's house to discuss the situation. This is an excellent scene. Sawyer's reading. I actually forget what he was reading, but I probably should have looked at it.
I don't know.
Again, it's like not like I do a podcast about this or anything. And Jack's like, you go to read about it? And Sawyer's like, listen, man. Churchill read every day, even during the war. He's doing some real like mindset, like greatness, great men of history, genius type stuff. But I am on Sawyer's side with this. Less about the lionizing of Churchill, but like, I don't know. He's a thoughtful guy. It shows that he's he be thinking. He explains to Jack that he has a different approach to leadership than Jack had with the survivors of Oceanic 15. Sawyer prefers to carefully plan out his actions as opposed to Jack's more impulsive style of command. Sawyer's thriving. Jack can't stand it. Jack is being a massive bitch. I wonder if... Couple thoughts here. Jack should probably keep in mind that Sawyer didn't have to pretend, or didn't have to immediately help them out. Like, he could have pretended, like, I don't know who these guys are, like, kill them, right away. Like, I think that he shouldn't take that for granted. Like, it'd be fucked up for Sawyer to do that. But, like, listen, he's got to go on, things are going all right here. He's going on a limb to help you guys, and he's thinking about it. Don't just be like, meh. I wonder if, the other thought, maybe Jack's suffering withdrawal effects here? Or his pill addiction? I would say that, but no, I think he just sucks.
His usual self. Yeah, I think so too.
What do you think of the Jack and Sawyer reunion there? Showdown.
Very funny. Very funny. I thought, I just kind of have assumed that Sawyer pulled the janitor thing too, which is kind of funny for Jack. I don't know if that's actually true, but that's a good little gotcha.
Yeah,
to get somebody back 3 years later,
Because you'd think that.
Why did Hurley get the only kind of
real
no disrespect apt job? You're being a big time ally to blue collar workers.
I was wondering what you were about to say, as Mr. PM.
No, I said I said my thing. I said, why did he kind of get the only like apt,
what are you trying to say?
Personality wise job?
Mr. Ally.
Well, he's a guy that likes food. I think that's been established, and he gets the cooking job, and they make Jack's a janitor and Kate's
the motor pool
mechanic.
Yeah. She doesn't know shit. She doesn't know how to do that.
Well, also, that's very surprising. Doesn't Kate's kind of established to be like a, mechanic style girl as a kid and as a, mechanic style woman. She's very...
It seems like she'd be the kind of...
How do you put it? Crafty. Rides a motorcycle, that kind of stuff,
I don't know if we've seen her ride a motorcycle. We haven't really... It seems like fitting with her character that she's kind of scrappy. She's kind of a survivor and whatever. You think that she'd be able to like make do, and part of that is having maybe some like basic mechanical knowledge, but apparently that's not the case. Like she'd been, out sleeping in the barn when we first met her back in season 1 kind of thing, and she was on the lam.
I guess.
And she's from Iowa.
Yeah. And,
Iowa girls... They're always monkeying around in the engine bays out here.
Yeah.
Out here in the fields.
I guess so.
She's like, if this was a tractor, I could help you out, but this is one of those damn Volkswagens. Yeah. From Europe. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
It does. I do agree. It seems fitting with Kate's character that she'd be able to turn a wrench, but apparently she can't. And Juliet, of course, is a pro.
Sure. Because she's been on the island.
Either she's been on the island, but also like Juliet's like super competent. I don't know. Good, like ultra competent. Like in every situation, she's just like locked in.
Sure.
Meanwhile, at the jail, an adolescent brings Sayid a sandwich and introduces himself as Ben. He's like, "Hi, I'm the adolescent bringing you your meal. My name is Ben." We see it's young Ben Linus.
Yeah. They're doing you probably don't know this because I don't think you're into Pokemon as a kid, but they're doing like the Pokedex thing of like outline of Ben Linus. It's just unknown adolescent. Unknown adolescent. And then all the kids shout at the same time, "It's Ben!" as he's revealed.
Yeah. Not that much of a reveal, but like still kind of fun, I guess. I'm gonna give this episode. I went back and forth about this. I think I'm grading on a curve here because season 5 has been so strong. I'm gonna give this a 3.
We have not agreed in a long time. This is a 4 for me. I mean, we've loosely agreed the entire time, but like on a specific number, it's been a while. We've been going back and forth. This is a 4 for me.
Yeah,
I like
just changed it now. I was going to give it a 4, but like sometimes talking about the episode like raises my estimation of it and sometimes decreases it. I think after I watched it, I had it at a 3, and then I prepared for the show and I wrote down a 4, and then having talked it through, I'm giving it a 3.
Sometimes you have such a great conversation partner like me that you talk to me for an hour about the show, and then you're like, "Damn, that show fucking sucked."
In comparison to this riveting conversation, yeah.
After hearing Ben say all that stuff about it, it's a 3.
Well, speaking of listening to Ben say stuff about stuff, this episode is brought to you by him and myself. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, telling a friend about the show, and if you want to hear even more of what Ben has to say, and I chime in sometimes as well, check out patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. Ben, let's talk about season 5, episode 10. This one's called He's Our You. This
Y-O-U.
Y-O-U. Yep.
Not E-W-E.
Not that. And it's our, I think it's my Midwest. Sometimes I flatten stuff. It's our, he's our you. He's our you.
He's A-R-E-Y-O-U. He's our you.
I'm going to start.
This episode was written by a third grader.
That's kind of rude to say about Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz. It was directed by Greg Titanis, and it aired March 25th, 2009. As a child, we got some flashbacks here. As a child, Sayid watches his older brother. He watches him be forced by his father to kill a chicken as a rite of passage, but he's unable to do it, so Sayid does it for him. This greatly pleases Sayid's father. He's like, at least one of you's a man, or one of you will be a man. While working for Ben, Sayid kills a man in Moscow. This is the last man on Ben's hit list, leaving Sayid uncertain about how to continue living his life. I really like the Moscow scene of like the assassination scene. It felt very much like a Bourne movie. Although the outfits that Sayid and Ben are wearing in Moscow are so goofy. They're so stupid, like coats on, and Ben's little hat had me howling.
Yeah, very good. Winning Russia.
I guess so, yeah.
Dressed like a movie that you probably saw as like a middle schooler with a Russian person.
I wish they had them wear like 2 foot tall, like red, fur hats instead. It would look less stupid than what they had on.
Kind of doing the Rocky and Bullwinkle thing, right? What are the bad guys? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
The man and the
That
woman.
sounds like
I think they're Russian.
100-year-old reference.
You don't know Rocky and Bullwinkle?
I mean, I've heard about it.
A moose and a squirrely looking thing.
1959, really Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. What is this?
You've never seen this? You've never seen Rocky and Bullwinkle?
I was born in the 90s.
Everybody's seen this.
I doubt that.
Everybody
no one
knows.
Has heard of
probably
this.
not. No, it's definitely
a thing.
No
one knows
thing.
What you're talking about. You're crazy.
It's definitely a thing that people haven't seen, but you know. Everybody knows Rocky and Bullwinkle.
All right, what? Tell me about it.
Well, you got a moose. You got a squirrel-looking thing. Those are Rocky and Bullwinkle. Then you got a thin Russian woman and a short, fat Russian man, and they're kind of bad guys. Or maybe they're French. Can't really tell when you're a little kid.
Natasha Fatale.
Yep.
The scheming villains in most episodes were the fiendish spies Boris Badenov, a pun on Boris Godunov, and Natasha Fatale, a pun on femme fatale, forever attempting to catch Moose and Squirrel.
Yep.
Other characters included Fearless Leader, the dictator of the fictitious nation of Pottsylvania, and Boris and Natasha's superior, Gideon Cloyd, little green men from the moon who were armed with scrooch guns.
Yeah, okay, vaguely remember them. Yeah.
Scrooch guns. I keep seeing those advertised on Twitter. All right. That'll really hit for the people who are still on that fucking website. Okay. Anyway, sorry, it didn't hit for me, but I'm sure.
Okay.
There you go. After John Locke dies, Ben visits Sayid and encourages him to go to California, telling him of Locke's death and Hurley being watched. So, Ben refers to Sayid as, quote, a killer. Following the confrontation between the survivors and Ben, Sayid meets Ilana at a bar. He's crushing McCutcheon at $120 a glass. We get a price. That's an expensive glass.
Those are George Bush bucks too, which I guess just also means it's in the past. That's expensive.
Mm. Ilana tells Sayid at the bar that she likes sad men.
Edgy.
I would say, save yourself, girl. Save yourself the trouble. Work on getting a different type if you can. Ilana skillfully seduces Sayid and then takes him into her custody at gunpoint. She turns out to be a bounty hunter who has been employed to take Sayid to Guam by the family of Peter Avellino, who Sayid previously killed for Ben on a golf course. Sayid's weakness really is women, because this exact thing has happened before to him.
Yeah. You wouldn't think it. You wouldn't guess it.
I mean,
until you actually meet the guy, and then you see, oh yeah, he did that on the island. He did that in his real life.
See,
now
he's
doing it again.
This is kind of the thing about Sayid. Like he's a great character, and Naveen Andrews just rocks. He's so charismatic that I have a hard time not rooting for him. I think for the most part, like I have a hard time remembering some of his like faults, like the whole torture thing and whatever. And I think that this episode is meant to remind us of the darker parts of his character and make us think about his various weaknesses and maybe remind us of or make us think about whether he deserves redemption. Like it took me a few days to think back on the episode and get there, because mostly while I'm watching it, I'm like, damn, Naveen Andrews is cool and hot. And like, how'd you fall for that one again? But like, yeah, I guess like, not that it's like having a weakness for attractive women is necessarily like bad. Actually, some might say okay, but that it's bad. But like he's got some darkness in him. And he may have involved preying on a woman 20 years his junior there for a while on the island.
Going back in time to tell the Dharma Initiative people, excuse me, your person that you have locked up down there, he's a pedophile.
Well,
he tried to date. He was dating. In the future, he's going to date a 17-year-old on the beach.
She was 20.
of this island.
He's going to be dating a negative 15-year-old because she hasn't been born yet. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, he falls for like the woman being into you trick, as so many of us do. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but as he's getting her in bed.
Yeah, what does that mean? What does that mean? Everyone, I didn't say that. Only Will said that. As
they're getting down to it in the hotel room, he tries to seductively take her big stupid boot off, and the zipper gets stuck. That was kind of funny.
She's like, take it off. And then they do this like very funny shot of like going down the length of the boot so you can see the long ass zipper. Like, take this 10-foot boot off of me.
Like they should have done like a close up like opening to Spaceballs, where it's like a 5-minute unbroken shot of just a zipper being pulled. It's a super long boot. Yeah. I don't blame Sayid for having a weakness for women and hip waders. That was quite the look in 2007.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know about hip waders? Like you going like out into the lake or something?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I guess I know. I don't remember that being a thing in 2007.
No, but
okay.
I'm joking.
I see what you mean about me not going along with your bits.
After seeing some of the Oceanic 6 preparing to board the same flight, he begs her to take the next plane, but he refuses. So once again, the Oceanic 6 are suddenly anonymous to the public. And now that I think about it, I wonder if there's something going on with that, actually. So they've made a point out of how Hurley specifically is recognized by multiple people, like the co-pilot that we talked about earlier. And then also the gas station attendant. Like, okay, he's famous. Is there something about the rest of them that, like, they are anonymous? Sun was recognized, though, in the hospital. They're like, she's one of the Oceanic 6. I don't know what's going on with that, but, like, I guess I'm opening the door to the possibility of this not being just like, haha, they forgot that they're celebrities. Maybe there's more to it than that. I don't know.
Well, they're not that memorable. Hurley,
it's been 3 years.
He's more
now.
memorable, but he's got a more memorable face and look and stuff to him. Jack's just a.
He's the most generic guy. Yeah.
Yes. Kate, pretty much too.
Although, yeah, when did Hurley get recognized? Was it like near the crash, or was it? No. It was like 3 years.
They've been back. Yeah.
Huh. Maybe it was just a particularly perceptive gas station attendant, because she also recognized him from winning the lottery on the news. It wasn't just that he was an Oceanic 6 survivor.
That's true. Watching the news all day, you got to remember.
I suppose so.
People.
On the plane, after he sees Ben on board, Sayid asks Ilana if she is working for Ben. Sayid describes Ben as a monster, and Ilana asks Sayid why she would work for a man like Ben. Sayid replies, I did. Damn. In 1977, Sayid is in the Dharma Initiative's jail. He is questioned by Horace Goodspeed, Dharma's leader, Radzinski, Dharma's head of research, and Sawyer, who, under the alias of LaFleur, is now Dharma's head of security. Sayid doesn't say anything, though, and is later visited by 12-year-old Ben Linus. Young Ben gives Sayid a copy of A Separate Reality by Carlos Castaneda. This is a book written in 1971 about the author's experience doing psychedelic drugs.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know. There are some MK Ultra vibes in the episode. I think it's the cool aesthetic. We kind of get into
There
that.
are, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of makes sense that that book would be on the island. Definitely, if I was a guy in jail, probably not reading that though. You know?
I mean, I'd read it just because it was like the only thing to do, but
I guess. You gonna read a book about drugs when you're in jail? I don't know. Something seems off about it. Something seems, like you're so far detached from any sort of like regular life, which makes you even further detached from any sort of like,
you might even say you're in a separate reality.
alternate reality-ish life.
Maybe drugs are the real prison.
Nice.
Or our everyday lives are the prison, and drugs are the key out.
Somebody give that book to Ben. Ben said he already read it a couple times, right?
I guess.
I mean, very edgy sixth grader.
It had just
school.
come out, or like 5 years previous, 5 or 6 years previous. So I don't know how popular it was. It didn't have very.
But a book about LSD. Would you read it?
It wasn't. It's not necessarily LSD. It was about peyote and mushrooms and other psychedelic plants.
But you wouldn't take that to school.
I mean,
if you were a sixth grader, probably.
Not unless you were like,
edgy.
Yeah, trying to be edgy.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I was reading lots of Dungeons and Dragons books at the time, and I didn't realize they were Dungeons and Dragons related.
Really?
I just thought it was just like, I don't know how to describe it, but they were like, it was about like elves and dwarves and wizards and stuff, but they were all apparently. I thought it was cool that they all shared like a universe, but I didn't realize there was like a game. Like connection to it and stuff. Yeah, I was really bad at paying attention to stuff as a kid. All right. Ben's father assaults Ben for bringing Sayid food. He like throws the tray of food on the floor. And I got to say, as a janitor, when you're the janitor, making a mess to prove a point doesn't quite hit as hard. Or maybe it hits even harder.
Have you ever been a janitor?
No, not like employed as one. I don't know why I'm trying to be. I was like, yeah. I mean, I've cleaned things.
Trying to thread the needle on something. No. That's what I was trying to figure out. What you meant by as a janitor.
Well, when you're the
you're the janitor, you're supposed.
When one is a janitor and you try to make a point about something and you like make a big mess to prove it, it's like. Doesn't really work because you're gonna be the one who has have to clean it up, or it's like leveraging your workplace power and you like, look, now you have to deal without me, but then you're kind of causing the problem anyway. Sayid is later confronted one-on-one by Sawyer, who, in an effort to save Sayid, tries to convince him to give a false confession of being a defector from the island's native population, known as the Others or the Hostiles, if you're the Dharma. Sayid refuses and is subsequently taken to Oldham, who's played by William Sanderson. He is Dharma's resident interrogation expert, and Sawyer describes him to Sayid as, "He's our you." See the title of it. So
very offensive. And then to meet the guy and... Whoa. Before you guys kill me, what did you mean? What do you mean by that?
He's a torturer,
In what way? He's the torturer, but look at this guy. Are you saying are we the same?
He's another hot guy that we have around. No, I love Sanderson. He's another Deadwood alum. That we have like 4 actors from Deadwood who are here in this. And man, I hope Hollywood gets back to the point where we can have working character actors like this again, because it's just fun to see like the fellas show up, like, oh, there's Sanderson. Sure. He's the man. He has a very distinctive voice and like gives a great performance. But yeah, he gives Sayid a truth serum, which forces Sayid to reveal his knowledge of Dharma's stations, including the future Swan Station, and that he had previously been to the island. Truth serum, drugging, torture stuff, more MK Ultra-y stuff, kind of cool.
Sure.
However, he also tells them that he is from the future, which discredits his story. They're like, maybe I gave him too much. Upon returning to the jail, Sayid is once again visited by Ben, who pledges to free Sayid because Ben wishes to join the others. That evening, several members of the Dharma Initiative take a vote to decide whether to execute Sayid. After an impassioned statement from new mother Amy, they all vote in favor of execution, including
Her
Sawyer.
impassioned statement primarily being, I'm Amy and I'm a new mother.
Yeah.
Please vote this way.
I'm trying to think of like what was the like satanic panic version of what's going on in 2007, but we're like, like this cynical like invoking of children's safety to further what was maybe going on in the 2000s that was like we're cynically invoking security for further erasure of civil liberties. Can't possibly think of that. But the I wonder if there's like a commentary about like think of the children kind of thing to argue in favor of this like death sentence here at this point. I guess it's 2009 actually, wouldn't it be? Yeah. Or 77, depending on how you think about it. Sawyer attempts to let Sayid escape, but Sayid refuses, stating that he has found his purpose for returning to the island. Interesting. Meanwhile, at the barracks, Juliet expresses her concern to Sawyer that their relationship will be jeopardized because of Kate's return to the island. I feel so bad for Juliet in this moment. She says, like, so it's over? It's tough. Kate learns of their relationship from Hurley. Later in the evening, Sawyer goes to Kate's house. That was a funny scene, though. He's like, yeah, Sawyer and Juliet, they're together. Kind of like how you guys were together. Weren't you guys dating? Oh. Later in the evening, Sawyer goes to Kate's house and asks her why she came back to the island. Before she can answer, however, a flaming Dharma van crashes into one of the houses.
Very funny.
Very funny. And also, Jack jumps in and he's like, what's going on? Like very like, I got to insert myself here. And Sawyer's like, 3 years, no burning buses. Now that you're back, here's some trouble. Good line from Sawyer. While everyone is distracted by the fire, Ben helps Sayid escape from the jail. So, we're assuming Ben lit this car on fire. What's going on here? They run into Jin during their escape, and Sayid knocks Jin out and steals his gun. After saying to Ben, "You were right, I am a killer," Sayid shoots Ben in the chest and runs off into the night.
Very funny as well.
I had I had a similar reaction to this episode where watching it, I was kind of like, this is kind of like a filler episode as far as season 5 goes. But then upon like thinking about it more, like I think this does a lot for Sayid's character. And again, I was just I'd be staying charmed by Naveen Andrews. And so I'm gonna give this a 4.
Okay, we're back to agreement. I give it a 4 too. It's very good.
Yeah, quite good. That's all for the show today. If you like the show and want to hear more from Ben and I, consider joining us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. Every week, Ben and I release a bonus hangout show and get into the stuff that we can't talk about on the main feed. We're gonna finally get down to who's bald, what it means to be bald. Feel free to write into the show, drskeletonsartschool@gmail.com. Comment down below, what did we miss? Next week, we're gonna be watching season 5, episodes 11 and 12.